Hey guys, I hope you're excited for another episode of A Tarot Story, and in this video I will be telling you the story of the Water Clan, or telling you about the Suit of Cups, and I'll be presenting the Suit of Cups and talking about each and every card in the format of a story that's sort of connected and strung together into a narrative. So obviously we're going to start with the Ace of Cups. So when it comes to the aces are the emblems of a particular clan, and the aces or the emblems kind of define who these people are, who is this group of people. So who are the Water Clan people? What is the Water Clan? Like, what's their spirit? So if you look at the energy of water, and if you look at the energy or the quality of a cup as a symbol, you will know that Ace of Cups or the Water Clan people, they're a group of individuals who are very sensitive. They have great emotional complexity and great emotional depth. They experience this life very deeply and vividly and in different textures and colors. They really value relationship. They really value, how they engage with people and the times and experiences that they share with people. So they really value their connections with people. They're just emotionally, they're just all over the place. They're a multi-dimensional spectrum of colors, textures, and impressions, and it's kind of like the ocean. You don't know how deep it goes, and it's just full of like amazing and beautiful creatures that glows in the dark and that kind of thing. So yeah, the Water Clan people always follow their heart. So that's the Water Clan people. So what happens next? So let's move on to chapter 2, or the Two of Cups. So in Two of Cups, this is when you are finding someone who is willing to share a moment with you or share a cup with you. So you find this person and you share a moment with them, and they're also willing to share their moment with you. They share the cup with you, they share their heart with you, and you find this person and chemistry happens. You know, two energies come together to create something new. Two energies come together to add to each other, to expand, to become something more. You know, it's like a sweet alchemy of sorts. It's feelings being augmented into something richer and more vivid and more awesome. And yeah, it changes and it expands. And moving on to chapter 3, or the Three of Cups. This is when you find a third person to join a group. You find a third person whose heart vibrations are resonating at a similar frequency, and you come together, the three of you come together, and you really appreciate what you guys have in common, and you also appreciate the individual differences that make you guys unique individuals. So it's like a really wonderful celebration of uniqueness, but also being in common, being in the same group, or being in the same vibe, or having this opportunity to really share that moment with each other. So it changes the dynamic a little bit once you have a third person, because when there's only two people, it's much more private, it's much more intimate. And when you go to the Three of Cups, when you have three people, it's kind of different, because it's kind of less private, it's less intimate, but it's not less meaningful or loving or fulfilling. So it's just like a different kind of dynamic. Okay, so in chapter 4, the Four of Cups. So in like Two of Cups and Three of Cups, chapter 2 and 3, there's this sense of utopia. Like it's almost like this utopian world where everyone just gets together and then everybody is happy, and it's really about the times you share together. Nothing is complicated. Like nothing complicated is going on. But when you get to chapter 4, it's sort of like everything sort of becomes routine, and there's no sort of new emotional excitement. So you start to yearn for maybe something outside of the social group. You start to yearn for something new or something more, or you may feel like there's this calling, and there's this sort of this pull is making you a bit restless or bored, and it's making you want to go out a little bit, go out and explore a little bit. So in a way, one person from the group, and like after the Three of Cups, kind of receive a calling or an invitation or an opportunity to experience something different, something that's outside of what the original social group can offer. This person may eventually decide to venture out to pursue that thing, to pursue that emotion experience, to go where their heart is telling them to go. That is kind of not intersected with the original group that he's with. And this leads to chapter 5, or the 5 of Cups, because unfortunately or inevitably, there will be a departure, there will be a parting, because one person is going to pursue something new, one person is going to venture out of their comfort zone and really try something different or be somewhere else. So there's a lot of disappointments. Like the original group may feel like they may feel there's, betrayed, or they may feel really disappointed that this person is leaving them. And the person may feel like, I have betrayed my group. I really don't want to leave. I really loved these people. I spent so much time with them. We've shared so much good times together, but now it's time for me to move on. I need to have to go away because I have to expand, and I have to answer this calling. I need to follow where my heart is telling me to go. So I think this is when there's really like this prominent sense of loss, and there's this sense of apprehension and disappointment. There's this feeling that you can't please everybody, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the feeling's still there. Sometimes when chapters close and a new chapter begins, sometimes when transitions happen, sometimes when you receive a calling, you will be called to go somewhere else. You will want to be someplace else, and sometimes that means saying goodbye to some of the things that you had before, people you were with before. This is where you learn that you can't please everybody, and sometimes you have to make choices when you are moving forward, and sometimes the choice is not as easy as you want it to be, because you kind of have to take into consideration that you have to emotionally invest, kind of in a wise way. You have to invest in the things that your heart wants to pursue, because if you offer a piece of your heart to everybody, you're going to end up having nothing. You're just going to stretch yourself too thin, and you're going to end up doing a disservice to yourself. So that is sort of the sadness in the 5 of Cups, but it's just part of life, I guess. So with this sentiment, with all this disappointment and sadness and parting, we arrive at chapter 6, or the 6 of Cups. You become nostalgic for simpler times. You really want to experience that simplicity again, where it's just about people being together and people being happy, and you don't have to make choices about who you should love or who you should give your heart to or how you should invest your time and energy and feelings without getting hurt or without hurting someone else. So you yearn for that simpler time. You yearn for that childlike innocence where you're just being given love. You don't have to think about it. You're just being loved, and you're just in a space of love. You don't have to do anything else. So you really desire that simple times, and you yearn for a relationship where your heart is free to be who it is or what it is. You don't have to consider anything else. There's no other calculations you have to go through. There's no other considerations. Everything is just really simple. So with that, moving forward, going to chapter 7, or the 7 of Cups. With this new understanding that sometimes when you put your heart out to experience new things, when you go outside of your comfort zone, you become exposed. You sort of have this vulnerability because you're wide open to receive. You are open to new experiences and new emotional narratives. So you think about who you're going to meet or who you're not going to meet, what you want to achieve, what you want to pursue, or what you don't want to pursue. You think about all these different things that could happen when your heart is open. Could be bad, could be good, all kinds of things can happen, and you realize that you don't really have control over those things. You can kind of think about them, you can anticipate how you're going to feel, but you really don't know. So you're swimming in your head a little bit. You're thinking about the future, and you're thinking about the past. You're thinking about what could happen. And you learn that nothing is for sure. And in a way, that's very exciting, because if everything is for sure, then why bother living life? At the same time, it's very scary because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. You don't know if harm's coming your way or fortune's coming your way. So there's a bit of trepidation, and things could go either way. So with this attitude, you go forth and you experience life. It's always with this trepidation. It's always with this sense of excitement and also a bit of fear. And you kind of make the best out of the things that happen. You make the best out of your experiences. And after you've experienced a fair amount, you arrive at chapter 8, or the 8 of Cups, which is when the experiences from Seven of Cups, opening your heart to all kinds of different experiences, experiencing heartache or love or hate or disappointment or sadness. You're all over the emotional spectrum. You had your ups and downs. This is really when you start to reflect a little bit. You organize all your experiences, all the experiences and all the stories and narratives that you've lived through, that you have collected. You organize them and you put them right next to each other, and you kind of look at them and you say to yourself, after having gone through this much, I now know exactly what I want to pursue in life. I now know what my heart wants, and also I know what my heart doesn't want. So this gives me insight to pursue whatever I want to pursue next. This gives me enough wisdom and strength to move on to the next part of my journey, to move on to the next part of my narrative. Because you have the self-understanding and wisdom now, so you can pursue your heart's desire without complications and without any barriers or obstacles or confusion. And even though it's not the simpler time that you wanted, like that picture in the Six of Cups, but now you're strong enough and wise enough to know that anything you want, you can create. You can sort of ground yourself in the sense of wisdom and understanding, and then go forth towards the next chapter. And the next chapter is the Nine of Cups. This is when you get to a point where you could really appreciate the good times. You're really grateful for the good times, but at the same time you can appreciate and laugh at the bad times as well. And your memories, your wisdom, your relationships, all your experiences and stories and narratives, all the little bits and pieces of your life, you put them together, and in a way you put them on display. You put them all behind you, right behind you. You're willing to share them with anyone that comes into your life. You're willing to sort of display them in a way that, hey, this is who I am, this is what I've been through, and this is my story. You recognize that these experiences are part of you now. They make up who you are. They are part of you, and they are who you are now. They're part of your person, they're part of your personality and your story, and they are a reflection and an expression of your spirit and of your soul. And this is when you arrive at chapter 10, or the 10 of Cups. This is when you realize that there's nothing else that you want anymore. Everything you want, everything that you have ever wanted is right here next to you, is right here with you. It's right here within your heart. And you feel emotionally complete. You have finally arrived at this happy ending. You're just so filled with appreciation and gratitude. It's the happy ending that you've always wanted. It's the happy ending that begins every morning, every time you take a breath, every time you feel like, every time that this is the happy ending that has come into its own being through your realization, through this epiphany that you've had, that everything you have ever wanted is right here with you within your heart, and you're happy, you are grateful, you are filled with love, and you are deeply and vividly alive. Okay, so that is the history of the Suit of Cups, or the Water Clan, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll be uploading the Earth Clan very soon, and then after that I'll be doing all the court cards, so stay tuned for that. And as usual, I'll be putting up a worksheet for the Suit of Cups. The links are down below, and if you're interested, there are other worksheets on my blog as well. Go check that out, and lots of good tools for productivity and creativity and studying tarot through creative storytelling. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and until next time, be the hero of your own story. See ya!